Hello everyone and welcome back to the Undrafted Opinions podcast. I am your host Owen Trailer and I am joined by my hay fever written friend Killian Keto Hayward. How are you doing, bud?
Thank you. Yeah, hay fever sucks, man. It's the combination of corona and hay fever is just not doing me well. Oh, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, so before we started the podcast, Killian wanted me to let you know that, he's been having a bit of an issue with hay fever, so
so if you hear sniffs throughout the whole podcast, I'm really sorry. I'm really trying to hold it back, man. I have tissues stuck up my nose right now, just trying to
tell them about
stop
when you
the
wake up
running
in the mornings.
Oh man, I can't breathe through my nose at all, so when I wake up in the morning my mouth is all dry because I have to breathe through it, and there's just this black horrible I don't know, weird shit all over my mouth, inside my mouth. Oh, it's just disgusting. I'm scraping out with my thumb because tissues and water doesn't take it off the surface. Oh, it's just dirt that I inhaled, man. Oh, it's rotten. It's disgusting.
It was gross.
Yeah.
Anyway, so welcome back. We took a break last week, but we're back this week, so yay, happy days.
Woo-hoo.
But what we wanted to start this podcast off with, Jesus, we took a week off and I'm already just not on form.
Yo, I'm completely lost.
What we wanted to start this podcast with was just, there's some off-season shenanigans that have been happening with some players in particular having some run-ins with the law over in the US. And we just wanted to, talk a little bit about that, just our own opinions, and, it's kind of just really unnecessary.
Yeah,
in general, but
we don't need to cover this, but why not?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, in the state of a global pandemic, you're kind of wondering how this is even happening in the first place. But
before you get into the news, I have some breaking news myself, and it's it's exclusive to us. No one's going to be reporting on this bit apart from us. It's an exclusive to us. Episode 2 got 100 views, baby.
100 views, baby. Yeah, I actually remember.
Big up the process and big up the listeners.
Big up the listeners. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that, some of them just click the link and put it straight back off, but that's okay too. It's all about...
Yeah, that's okay. The number means a lot to us.
Yeah, it's just the number. We don't care how much you listen to it, but... Yeah, so anyone who does click and anyone who's actually listening now, thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so... with all these off-season shenanigans that I mentioned, the biggest of which was probably 2 cornerbacks that were involved in an armed robbery in South Florida. And it was actually kind of crazy because the players involved are DeAndre Baker, who is a former first-round pick of the New York Giants. And he last year...
just about first round, isn't he? He's like the 30th pick, to be fair.
In or around, I think. But...
yeah,
it is kind of still crazy because an armed robbery is just, holding somebody up for money. But first round picks are, pretty well paid. And signing bonuses and whatnot, they all include into a huge lump sum of money in that first year. And the second player involved was Quinton Dunbar, who was a former Washington Redskins cornerback, but he was traded to the Seattle Seahawks in the offseason, just passed. And... it was actually kind of crazy because there was a reported dispute of a loss of over $50,000, which led into the whole armed robbery scenario. And it's kind of crazy because it was reported as a board game, or at least a card game, in which there were several players involved, Dunbar, Baker, allegedly, and it was also reported that a couple of Miami Dolphins players were involved too.
Oh, okay. So it was like a poker kind of thing, was it? Or something like that? What?
It was kind of like a poker game. I don't know. They had a name on the game, and I'm not too familiar with it, but we'll just call it poker for,
poker or
sake.
Uno. Yeah, either one.
Uno, extreme Uno. But and so it came out that Dunbar. It seems that he wasn't involved whatsoever, but he was playing the night previously, this Uno card game, hybrid, whatever it was. But, he has some signed statements now from the actual people who were held up in the robbery that he had no part in the process whatsoever. And DeAndre Baker, on the other hand, he had a bit of a shakier story. So according to his lawyer or attorney, he was present in the residence for the armed robbery, but he was preoccupied because he was in a different room playing Madden. And
franchise mode or Ultimate Team.
I think it was franchise mode. He took over the New York Giants, and he made himself a 99 raid. But
yeah, because that's the only way he's staying on that Giants team. Yeah. Oh no, wait, is it Jets or Giants? I can't remember.
Yeah, he's with the Giants. He's with the Giants.
There we go. Yeah, yeah, man. What I'm wondering about that is that that can be easily checked, right? If that's true or not, because like when I'm on PlayStation, all my mates can see what I'm doing. Like it says that I'm in the FIFA lobby, or like I'm in a different game. So isn't that like easy to check and easy to like?
I'm fairly sure
disapprove or whatever.
Because I don't know. Like I'm gonna say something pretty stupid, but like I know on the Nintendo Wii, it used to give you like your playtime of a certain day, and it used to like mail you this playtime every day after you finished playing, which is actually kind of cool. I always used to look at it when I was like 10, but I was really preoccupied with how much fucking Super Mario Galaxy 2 I played, or FIFA 10 on the Wii. But yeah, I'm sure his shaky in general is just It's just a shaky defense, and he's more than likely going to be charged with the armed robbery, whereas Dunbar is more than likely going to get away with it.
Yeah,
because he seemed to have no involvement whatsoever. But it just brought up this whole debate on whether the New York Giants should actually keep DeAndre Baker, because he had a very, very poor rookie season. Like, he didn't adjust well at all to the pro-style defenses, or, on how to defend a pro-style offense, which was... he was heavily criticised, and for a first-round pick, it wasn't what they expected right away.
Yeah, because the Giants, like, really wanted him, because they traded to get up in order to get him at 30th, didn't they? They traded away picks or something to get up to him, right?
Is that what they did? Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so they really wanted this guy, and it's just annoying to see them get into these situations when a team really wants them, and like, I don't know what's the cause of his bad rookie season, because it wasn't good at all, was it? No. But like at that time, it's like, is he working hard on the field? And by some accounts, it's like he's not even working hard in the meeting rooms and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, is there a real need to keep this guy when it's a big disappointment, because you traded away to get up to him in the 30th pick in the first round, and he just has not performed at all. But like, he did have a great college season and everything like that, didn't he?
Well, yeah, of course. Any player that's drafted in the first round generally has a good final college season, we'll say. But yeah, it's just when you make such a heavy investment like a first round pick on a player, and it just doesn't pan out immediately, you're going to face critics in general, because are you living up to the pick or whatever. But to see it go this badly, and now with the off-season trouble that he is having, it's got to be really disappointing for the Giants.
Yeah.
And then
look, I don't know what will happen from the situation, but it's just not like a good image for the team as well as the player. It affects both of them pretty badly.
Yeah, like it's been talked about now. Is he really worth keeping? Like, he didn't make any advancements in his play over the course of his rookie season. As we said, he was very poor. But it sparked the debate now whether he's actually worth keeping for the New York Giants, if they're actually going to let him go or waive him. So, yeah, it's interesting to talk about. I don't think they will, because, spending a first-round pick on a player, and, they can decline fifth-year options or whatever when the time comes, but giving up on him that early, it's super rare. The only player I can think of that happened to was Taco Charlton for the Dallas Cowboys. And,
Boom, big up Taco.
Big up Taco. But yeah, he was let go by the Cowboys. I think he signed with the Dolphins then, and now the Dolphins don't even want him. So, he's just been poor. But yeah, whatever. And Dunbar, of course, he actually gained some really good positive reviews for his play last year. He was a top 5 graded cornerback in general. Yeah, and I was really surprised when he was actually traded for what he was traded for. I think the Seahawks gave up a 5th round pick or something for Dunbar, which is
okay.
good value. So,
yeah, that worked out for you guys pretty well.
Yeah, it did. If he's actually allowed to play next year and he's not in jail, but
yeah, there's that.
yeah. And then there was a second incident, and this was in New York, the residence of the Giants and the Jets. But it was Ed Oliver, so a defensive tackle for the Buffalo Bills. He was arrested for driving under the influence, and it was alcohol, I believe. But he was also charged with the possession of an illegal firearm. And what I found funny about this...
no, go on. I know what I was going to say is that, do you know where he had the beer, where they found the beer or whatever? It was like right between his legs in the front seat, man. He had it right there. Like hide it at least when the cops come around the car. Like, who leaves it there?
Like, what I found funny about this is, there's drinking at home in a global pandemic. Like, just staying in your house, getting rolled off, having a few beers, but then there's driving around with a beer between your legs and a gun in your hand at the same time by yourself. Like, I was kind of like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, he was driving a massive Ford truck, or, well, I don't know if it was massive, but all the trucks in America are just way too big, beyond reason. And he was towing a trailer with a doom buggy on it too. Like, why would you want to be drinking when you're towing a doom buggy behind you?
That's like country living, but in Buffalo, New York. But it is what it is.
Did you know? I actually seen the reason why I found it so funny is that I read a segment titled "Before This Happened," Ed Oliver primed for breakout season. I was like, oh, geez, it's going to be a different kind of breakout now, isn't it?
Yeah. No, he had a good season on the.
Oh, he really
interior.
did. No, he was great.
Did. He showed some good promise, and DUI is serious, but it's probably a bit less serious than armed robbery.
Oh yeah, I think he was
compared.
It was a misdemeanor on both the driving under the influence and the gun thing. I think it was just a misdemeanor kind of thing that he got, or whatever that means.
Yeah, so that's probably a fine or whatever, and then probably a couple of hours in community service or whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so he kind of got away with it lightly. It's probably a first-time offender as well, so he kind of got away with it. So that was. I think there was another story as well, but I can't remember what it was. But that's kind of just the off-season shenanigans of players that are kind of being left to their own devices now that mini camps or whatever have
people are going insane, man. Like
they are. And it's
I'm gonna go insane.
I feel like going insane. Like, I'm packing up my stuff to move back to where I'm from, but it's just a painful process, and it's
it really is.
Yeah. And speaking of off-season activity, it's just that while there is bad things going on with the armed robbery and the driving under the influence and all this other stuff, Tom Brady has taken it upon himself to familiarize himself with his new teammates in Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a really, really good move by Tom Brady because, it's dependent on states in America at the moment. Like, whatever the state sees fit for you to do, you kind of have to apply by that. Like, I know in Washington State, like, they're being told to be staying inside and don't stray too far from your home. But at the moment in Florida, it's not as strict, and they're kind of allowed roam free so long as they're adhering to social distancing and whatnot. But, I thought it was a really good move by Brady to, gather his teammates, take them out to a park, and, just get straight into working, like working on routes with receivers such as Mike Evans and the tight end OJ Howard, and also the center Ryan Jensen. He was there as well. So it's just kind of creating that chemistry early on, just familiarizing themselves with each other. Basically, like, I know a receiver and a quarterback, they need to have that relationship in terms of ins and outs, breaking routes, how they break, how Tom Brady wants them to break, this, that, and the other. And it'll just be good because they're getting the work done early. And as well as the center, that's a relationship in its own, because I don't know if you know, but like when you take a snap from under center, like you kind of have to touch the center's butt, and you just kind of have to, you kind of have to become comfortable with that at the same time.
Ooh,
I don't know, like, and
lovely.
yeah,
Yeah, I seen you at trainings. I see that you like that stuff, man. Don't worry, I
whatever,
don't judge. I
whatever.
don't judge.
I've never touched Ukraine's butt in my life, but whatever.
Yeah, you
Ukraine
wouldn't
is the
want to
center.
either.
No, Ukraine is the center for our American football team. That's not his name,
Yeah,
but that's what we call him. But
yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
was thinking of
just
changing his name on all the kits because I'm getting them delivered now. So
yeah,
change his name to Ukraine on everything. That'd be funny.
that
He
would be kind
probably
of
wouldn't
funny.
like it though.
I don't know. He doesn't mind being called Ukraine, but anyway, shout
Yeah,
out to
that's
Ukraine.
true. Yeah, big up Ukraine.
Yeah, like I was just saying, I can just really get behind what Brady is doing, making the effort with the new teammates, and by now
Yeah.
he definitely knows the playbook. Like it's been sent out, you know, he's communicating with the players that's around him. He's more than likely
Oh yeah.
communicating with Gronkowski as well.
Yeah, he
And
definitely has well, not like a training relationship with them yet and a playing relationship like what they're trying to work at the moment, but he
yeah,
definitely has made a kind of like a friendship, I guess, with these players because that's what he asked for straight away, wasn't it? He just wanted the numbers of the
yeah,
players.
he
Like
when
the
he was
team gave him
first
a request.
yeah, when he was first signed, the only thing he wanted was the phone numbers of his teammates.
Yeah,
So,
so there you go. I say there's
yeah.
already that built up, and now they just need to translate it onto the field.
Yeah, like it was just a really classy, good move by Tom Brady. And
Yeah,
you know, it's not. There's been questions raised whether it's actually going to be held legal by the NFL standards and whatnot. And yes, it is because
yeah,
there's no coaches present. Like it's
yeah, yeah,
only in violation of any rules if a coach is present while players are training in the off season and they're not
yeah.
registered to camps or whatever.
Yeah, it's just the boys going out to a field and having a good time. That's literally all it is like.
That's pretty much it. And newly signed backup quarterback Blaine Gabbert, he was also there as well. So Brady also
Do
working
you
on a
think he got to
relationship.
throw it at all, or do you think Brady just kept the ball the entire time?
No, he probably got to throw like maybe once or twice. But yeah, just the backup and starting quarterback relationship, they're all pretty important in the whole
Yeah.
grand scale of the NFL. Like, um, who is
Do
it?
you think his Brady's relationship with Howard, the tight end, right? The other tight end. Do you think that
Hmm.
would be anything similar to what he and Gronk had? Because well, obviously, like Gronk's coming back, so that relationship will still be there. That kind of
Yeah,
like that team up will still be there. That powerful team up. I was just
yeah.
wondering if he's going to implement that same kind of thing with Howard, or is he going to like take a new approach with him as a different kind of tight end?
Um, well, fundamentally they're different. Like OJ Howard is a big explosive player,
Yeah,
whereas Gronk is kind of a bit slower, like no less
but
physical.
massive.
He's really physical, good blocker.
Yeah,
He gets open all the same. But I'd be shocked if they didn't start running like a twin tight end system in Tampa Bay now that they have Gronkowski as well,
yeah,
because not to bring up an accused and pretty much sentenced murderer, but when Aaron Hernandez was in the New England Patriots system, they ran a dual tight end system where Aaron Hernandez and Gronkowski were both on the field at the same time for a majority of the
yeah,
snaps. And that was super effective in terms of the play that they were able to separate and break up because I don't know, it just worked really well. But if they can include OJ Howard and Gronkowski on the field at the same time, I'd be shocked if they didn't, relive that kind of success that they found earlier.
uh-huh. Okay,
But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he developed a good, relationship with OJ Howard and just kind of translated it on the field in terms of receptions, yards, touchdowns, whatever. But yeah, like Brady spreads the ball out a lot as well. Like if you look at Brady's statistics, like there's only been a couple of occasions where he'll solely target one player over and over again, and it's
yeah,
usually like an established star like Gronkowski, Edelman, Wes Welker, Randy Moss. But these are only like four players within the last 20 odd years that he's been playing that were hit over and over and over again.
yeah,
But the biggest thing with Brady is he needs to feel like he trusts the receiver more than anything else on the field. Like he'll trust if he trusts the receiver, he'll more than likely feed him the ball. That's why last year in New England, where you didn't see him throw the ball to N'Keal Harry or Mohamed Sanu, because he didn't feel like he had the rapport and trust in them to be able to go out there and catch the ball. So that's why I like the move as well, just bringing it back. It's just, it's creating that foundational trust level that Brady needs to have to actually spread the ball around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally get you.
Yeah, because now with Gronkowski's inclusion in the offense, like, you don't know how many double teams he's going to draw and how open, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, even OJ Howard himself, how open they'll be able to get due to double teams on all these other players, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. And, I think with this this whole new offense that Tom Brady's going to have, I think there's going to be, a bit more that we're going to see of Tom Brady, as in, we're going to see more kind of outrageous plays, I feel like, down in Tampa.
Yeah, of course. Like, I'm expecting really, really big things from Tom Brady this year. Well, not really big things, but I'm expecting him to break at least 35 touchdowns and, in or around 5,000 yards. You get me?
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I wonder if you put that up to a bookies, what kind of odds you get on that?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I probably get good odds because last year I think Lamar Jackson led the league in touchdowns with like 38 or 37.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. But yeah, I think they're going to throw in the red zone mostly. I don't think they're going to bother running the ball, even though they do have a good running back and Roland. But yeah, I think Bruce Arians is just going to let that thing fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the end of that segment or whatever. But we'll move on.
Oh no, sorry, wait. I was gonna say one more thing.
Okay,
sorry. I was just gonna say that, like, this whole thing where Brady wants to get out and start, working with everyone like as quick as they can. Like, it does kind of show that his switch is never really like switched off. Like, well, fully switched off. It's more like, those dimmer kind of lights where you can, like, rotate it. He's, like, kind of always at that half point where he's, like, just thinking about it. But, like, he's always switched on. And, he's totally clearly focused on winning in Tampa and that he'll work real hard to achieve it. It's 100%, I think, anyway, about legacy points now for Brady because he's got the 6 rings. Like, obviously that's, like, amazing.
Yeah, the direct comparisons between Bill Belichick now and Tom Brady are going to be even more blown up by the media because they're on 2 separate teams, and it depends on how well they do. They're going to be linked together forever regardless because of the amount of time they spent together in New England.
Yeah.
But now that they're separated, it's going to be somewhat legacy defining whether one can win without the other, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I just think that it's going to be he's really going to be pushing hard this year just to prove himself, because he's proved everyone already that, like, he's an amazing player, but maybe just to prove himself.
In terms of backup quarterbacks, we were just talking about Cam Newton, and this is a recurrent segment on our podcast, of course, Cam's Corner, the former Carolina Panthers quarterback.
Best in the world.
In your opinion, my friend, in your opinion. But
have you?
So Cameron Newton still remains unsigned, so he's still a free agent quarterback.
Yeah.
Despite being open to...
It's outrageous. It's unfair.
So, like we discussed in previous podcasts, he is open to being a backup, but yeah, there has been some backup jobs that have recently been filled, and just want to talk about that for a minute, just in terms of why Cameron Newton wasn't signed and these other players were. So,
yeah,
third-year quarterback Sam Darnold has a new backup quarterback in the form of Joe Flacco. And this is kind of... It kind of makes sense for the New York Jets to sign Joe Flacco. This is because Sam Darnold is entering his 3rd year. It's kind of an important year since his first 2 injuries... his first 2 years have been marred by injuries, mono, and just kind of inconsistent quarterback play in general. So
yeah, I feel like there's a good quarterback there. It's really unfortunate for him.
Yeah, it is. And bringing in, a good starting caliber former quarterback in Joe Flacco, it's a good move just to bring in a savvy veteran just to teach him, the ins and outs of actual quarterback and play because, Sam Darnold hasn't really had it. He's had, I think, Trevor Siemian and Luke Falk as his backups in the past, and Luke Falk, of course, came out in the same draft as Sam Darnold, so it was kind of you can't really learn from a guy you started with, and Trevor Siemian he just has that reputation of being an inconsistent, unreliable quarterback in general. So
and all credit to Flacco for securing this job. I thought that he wasn't going to have anywhere to go to, so it's great to see that he still has a place on an NFL team.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Flacco, and I think everyone knows that Darnold is the number one in the Jets. So Flacco, if Flacco's happy, just sitting back and just teach you what he can to him.
Yeah,
I think that's great. I'm not mad that Cam Newton didn't get it.
Yeah,
because it's not a role I would like to see Cam Newton in. I'd rather see him play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And bringing in Joe Flacco, it's good because he's used to this role by now. Like last year, having served as Denver's starting quarterback for a period of time, then he became injured.
Yeah.
And Drew Lock, the rookie quarterback out of the second round, I believe, he came in and he basically made the job his. And in the off season, they've obviously made moves to get rid of Joe Flacco and make Drew Lock the starter. But there was all these reports at the time of Joe Flacco being completely happy and satisfied to help Drew Lock in his development, and he was resigned to the role of backup quarterback, which he wasn't disappointed to have been assigned. You know what I mean? And even before that, in Baltimore, the team that drafted Joe Flacco, the team he won the Super Bowl with, when they drafted Lamar Jackson, he was always open to help Lamar Jackson in his development. He was excited about the prospect of Lamar Jackson, one day effectively taking his job. And it just takes, a big personality and, a strong personality to be able to accept this and just take it for face value and, move on and do the best job you can with the role you're assigned, you know what I mean?
I really like that. I think that Flacco now knows his place on a team, and, that's not going to be a starting quarterback anymore, but he knows that he might not have the physical abilities of what he used to have, but he still has all that intellect about the position and all this knowledge of playing for years. And as you said, with the Ravens, which was a great team a while ago, so I think that he knows where he needs to be, and he's gonna take it with full advantage and help out whoever he can. And I really respect that because if you're a QB, you want to be a QB forever, I bet. But with him, taking a step back and just helping the newer generation come up, like you said, he's done that with he's done that with 2 QBs at the moment, and now he's moving on to his third. He's getting paid good money to be a coach, basically, but to wear the gear as well.
He's an active mentor, we'll say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as you said, it's really respectable. It really is. It's truly a selfless position in the backup quarterback role, but to help these younger quarterbacks develop to a place where you once were, that's always a good thing to bestow upon somebody else. It was Patrick Mahomes. He still talks about the influence Alex Smith had on him. Alex Smith was the starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes always gives credit to Alex Smith and how Alex Smith helped him become a starting caliber quarterback, and just giving him all the knowledge that he had and giving it to Mahomes. And regardless of whether Alex Smith or not was concerned about losing his job, he didn't really care because he was going to help Mahomes regardless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then you have that argument as well that the reason why these players will be great in the future is because there's this old QB who helped them along the way, so they're it's like passing the torch kind of thing, and really kind of solidifying yourself within the franchise, being look, I only came to make the franchise great and to do it for the QB. I think it's a selfless thing, and I think it's really awesome, and I wish the best to Darnold and Flacco.
Yeah.
I really do. I hope that Darnold has a good season.
Yeah.
I hope he just doesn't get injured or or anything again.
Catches mono again. But
yeah, oh poor lad.
yeah, so the argument is always going to be made that Cam Newton could have also done this, but filled in this
Yeah,
role that Joe Flacco has now taken on. But I kind of disagree in a sense because
yeah,
there's only about 2 to 3 quarterbacks in the entire league that would be okay with having Cameron Newton as their backup quarterback. One, because he's an intimidating presence, not because he's aggressive in any sense. It's just his presence on the field and in the training grounds and whatnot, on the field, on the backup position. That's intimidating because he is a
yeah,
former NFL MVP, and his play, while it has taken a step back due to injuries, he's still a mid-level starting quarterback. And to someone who's
oh yeah,
under
absolutely.
pressure, like Sam Darnold, a third-year quarterback, if Cameron Newton was signed to the Jets, like I'm sure if Sam Darnold had 1 or 2 bad games like he did last year, there would be cries
Yeah,
for Darnold to be benched, Newton to be brought in. Like there's very,
yeah,
very, very few quarterbacks in the league who would be okay with that. Previously mentioned, probably only Patrick Mahomes and maybe Russell Wilson would have been okay with Cam Newton as the backup
yeah,
quarterback because they're so secure in their position. But not everyone is as
yeah.
secure as they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what I will say about Russell Wilson, I say that he'd nearly even embrace it because Wilson is fantastic, getting the ball downfield, but with Pete Carroll, it's a lot of kind of like running plays and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
which obviously you don't want to see Wilson do because the tackles on him are always hard, and it's always just hard to watch that happen to
yeah,
Wilson, man. But imagine if they brought Cam back in as a second, and Cam would probably embrace that. Carroll would probably like that too. Well, he would. Like
yeah,
Cam's a rushing QB, but I say Wilson would embrace that. It's a role that he doesn't fill
yeah,
that Pete Carroll might want. So I feel like yeah, like you said, Wilson wouldn't be phased by it. I say he would embrace it because it's just another part of the game
yeah,
that the Seahawks would be able to expand onto. But Cam's not better than Wilson at throwing the ball down deep or whatever
yeah,
like that, accuracy and all that kind of stuff. But Wilson's not better than Cam at the rushing game and at the getting out of sacks. So
yeah,
I feel like that would have been Wilson wouldn't care. Mahomes as well. Well, Mahomes. I think Mahomes would just probably start in almost every scenario
yeah,
ahead of Cam at this point. But that would probably be more of a personality thing with Mahomes
yeah,
because Cam, when people think of Carolina Panthers, they think of Cam,
yeah,
and they probably think of Cam Newton before the Carolina Panthers because he was the personality of that team. He was the presence. He was like the cool kid in school. Everyone wanted to hang out with him
yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. So if you bring that kind of energy into a new locker room where there's an up and coming QB like Mahomes, I
yeah,
feel like Mahomes would be like, ah, shit, like if he has a party on the same night as me, like are people going to come to my party and that kind of stuff? Anyway, I'm just rambling on, but
yeah,
I like you said, I don't think Cam should have, like, as much as I love Cam and as much as I want to see him go to a team, I don't think he should go to the Jets at all. Well, he's obviously not, but
yeah,
even if it was a chance, I prefer Flacco to go there because I feel like Flacco is more suited to that role of being the second QB who really just like helps Darnold,
yeah,
because it's obvious to see that the Jets anyway want Darnold to be the number one for the foreseeable future.
yeah,
So having Cam Newton there, which is kind of I guess just wouldn't mesh as well as what they want.
yeah,
So I want Cam Newton on the team, but if he did go on this team, I'd be a bit upset for Darnold.
yeah.
And I feel like it would have been a wrong step in the direction for the Jets.
Yeah. You brought up an interesting point there with the inclusion of Cam Newton in an offense such as the Seahawks offense. And,
Yeah,
the Seahawks recently signed quarterback Geno Smith. They re-signed him because he was there last year. But
yeah,
just to be, that quarterback in the background, not included in the offense whatsoever. But
yeah,
when you said it, I was actually really, really intrigued because you mentioned, of course, Cam's rushing ability and his ability to, break tackles as a physical runner of the ball as well as being able to throw. Because at
yeah,
the end of the day, he is a quarterback. But In terms of a Russian offense, I think it'd be really, really interesting to see Cam Newton go to the Baltimore Ravens, because at the moment now they have Robert Griffin III as a backup quarterback. He, of course, back in the day was an electric runner, and Lamar Jackson, their starting quarterback, was compared to him when he came out in the draft first. And I just think the inclusion of Cam Newton in a run first offense like the Baltimore Ravens, while he isn't as agile as Lamar Jackson is, like he's not gonna slip and slide out of tackles and dip, dodge, dive, duck, and dodge.
The 5 Ds.
The 5 Ds. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. But Cam Newton, I think it'd just be really cool inclusion to see if he could actually, give to the offense, give another dimension to the actual rushing ability of the team in general, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I think, Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton, like if you compare their rookie seasons, I guess, or their seasons, their first few seasons in the league, I say there's some similar things that you can take away, because Cam loved to rush, same with Lamar Jackson, and I think that with the experience in the league that Cam has and his experience with injuries, I feel like he might be able to pass down a bit more knowledge on when's the right time to go for a rush, and or just chuck the ball out to the side, and all this other stuff, and how to break tackles more efficiently and this kind of stuff. Obviously Lamar Jackson does these things in a great way, but it's always good to have two pairs of heads working on the same thing, because if you look at your own way of doing things, it becomes rigid and stale and predictable. You bring in another kind of viewpoint to your position, then it becomes fresh and new, and it makes your inventory of kind of abilities bigger and larger and less predictable, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, it's just the dynamism of itself, of the talents of Jackson and the talents of Newton. While there are similarities, they're vastly different dynamic talents at the same time, and I think it'll just be interesting. You know what I mean? It's just a scenario. But
oh yeah, no. And look, honestly, I take any team to pick up Cam, and I say that it's a great move. But obviously, apart from the Jets, because I like Flacco, and I'm happy that he's going to somewhere that wants him. You know what I mean? Because it was obvious that the Denver Broncos were kind of over him. Well, yeah, they obviously were. They got rid of him. So, but yeah, look, I'm happy for Flacco. I'm upset for Cam. What can I do?
And so concludes this week's and this podcast's episode of Cam's Corner. Woo! So Cam Newton remains unsigned. We'll check in next week, see if there's any developments. Probably not.
Probably still unsigned, yeah.
But so what we're going to move on to next is just a new segment, what we're going to call the Undrafted 11. And this is kind of an argumentative, have a bit of fun with it type of me against Killian, just arguing for a player's inclusion on our undrafted 11's team. So there's going to be
so like
11.
This is our team that like we want to create, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like we're imagining that this team is like an extended franchise going into the NFL, and the team that we're putting together is just players that we're just gonna randomly pick and argue about, and whoever we like the argument more of, we pick, and they're in the team.
Yeah, it's kind of, we haven't really defined it ourselves, but we thought it'd be kind of fun to do at the same time. So we were talking about before the podcast, we're gonna have the standard 11 positions on offense and the standard 11 on defense as well. We're also gonna include the kicker and the punter, but probably not any kick returners or whatnot. But I have a coin in my hand at the moment. I think it's
on who goes first.
Yeah. I think.
Oh, lovely.
I think it's a 50 pence. We're not English, but I don't know why I have this. So
woo, up the Brits, man. Woo.
But so Queen Elizabeth's head. That's obviously head, and whatever.
I'll take Elizabeth's head. Yeah.
Shit, I dropped it. Alright, so you're going with heads, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going with Elizabeth.
Tails. So you start. No, you can go first. It's my pick.
Oh shit. Okay.
I
That's
deferred.
cool. Okay, cool.
So, Killian, take the floor.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'd like to point out we're allowed to pick players that have retired, but if they're in shape, they can come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just to point that out because that who my player is. So I'm gonna let you guess who it is.
Okay.
Defensive end.
Okay.
/ linebacker. He can line up in those two positions.
Okay.
51 years old.
Oh fuck.
Do you know who it is?
The team he started with, maybe.
Rams when they were originally in Los Angeles.
Bruh. 51.
Dude, it's Terry Crews, baby.
Terry Crews. Oh.
Terry Crews.
Did he not get drafted by Philadelphia?
No, he didn't.
Oh.
I don't think he did, or maybe he did. Well, what I found on Wikipedia said different. So
whatever. That's
here
a
we go.
Pick.
Yeah, Terry Crews, defensive end / linebacker, so dual purpose player, perfect for our team. Yep. He's 51 years old, but he's 6'3", 245 pounds of lean, mean, and clean muscle. That shit is all natural, by the way. So that's some beautiful muscle right there. He was 11th overall in the 1991 NFL Draft, picked by the Rams.
11th,
right? So, yeah, 11th overall.
No way was he 11th overall. That's such a lie. 111.
No, lad, that's
maybe.
what Wikipedia said that, man.
No, I'm calling some bullshit right now. I may go look that up. Round 11, right, pick 281. What are you on about?
No, I said he's 11th overall. First round.
No, he's not. He was picked in the 1991 draft, round 11, pick 281 overall.
Oh shit, I got that wrong.
Bruh. How could you mess that up?
I didn't look at it properly.
Who did he get drafted by?
I was too quick.
Let me check.
Wait. Oh shit, 11th round. I thought that was 11th.
Yeah, no, he definitely wasn't a first round pick. That was crazy.
Alright, I'm sorry, dude.
11th
he was
drafted
round
by the Rams.
overall.
You got that right, yeah. So, I give you that.
Yeah, so fuck you. Alright, so I was speed through, like the reason why I picked him is he's got that experience because he's played with another team. So, Cruz has got that like knowledge of different lineup, game plans, tactics and strategies, I'll run through all the games, all the teams that he played for. He played for the Rams, 6 games for the Rams. Epic. He played 10 games for the Chargers when they were in San Diego at the time. Right. 16 games for Washington Redskins. And boom, when he was with the Eagles, he played a big fat 0. So, and also in 2005, right?
Yeah.
He played while he was in prison. He played with the Mean Machines with Adam Sandler. And do you know what's interesting about this is that he actually played an offensive position. I can't remember what it was because I didn't want to go back and look at the movie, but I'm pretty sure it was like a tight end. So there we go. He's offensive, defensive. Like, wow, like, could you ask for anything more? What was I going to say? He also had a stint with Ryan Fire during the 1995 season. He played in Europe when that was
NFL Europe. I told you that some of those people existed.
Yeah, man. He had a season with Ryan Fire. It was a losing season. They had 4 wins and 6 losses. But anyway, I couldn't really find any stats on his career in Europe. Like who cares about the Europe League? But he played an overall of 32 games in the NFL, and he got 57 tackles and 38 assists.
Not bad.
So that's like 1.7 tackles per game and 1.1 assists per game if you think about it. So yeah. That's all the stats I have about him. I don't know how he did in that Mean Machine game, but they won that game as well.
I'm pretty sure they did.
And now, so I just want to say that he's an all-round great guy.
Yeah.
He's funny, so he'd be good to have in the locker room. He's a role model and inspiration to the players. A leader. He could be a leader. Very smart and talented too. He's into architecture and art and all that kind of stuff. He actually used to, when he was doing well in the NFL, or was that in the Europe League? Basically he did portraits of players to make ends meet, which is really cool. So we save a bit of money on the art in the
Don't
stadium.
you just drop
So that'd be
a Terry
great.
Crews nugget on you that you probably didn't know?
Yeah, go
He's a
for it.
porn addict.
You said that he had a porn addiction. Yeah, I have that right here. I think I actually made it into a point why we should have him. He's known to overcome obstacles. In 2000, he overcame a porn addiction in I think it was 2009 and 2010. And do you know what? Like, I'll say any addiction is an addiction, which is like bad. So like, he went to rehab for it. Good for him.
Yeah, good for Terry
And
Crews.
it just shows how mentally strong and determined he is, and all that. He wrote a book about it, and it's actually quite good. I forgot what it's called though. Yeah, but yeah, big up Terry Crews. I think he's going to be a great fit for our team because he's dual purpose on the defensive side, and I think he can play tight end as well. Plus, I know he's
Where are you
51.
going to put him though? Because that's the most important
I
thing.
think. Do you know what? Linebackers are really physically demanding, and a lot of. I'm not saying he's not smart, but a lot of like intellect is involved in it as well. But I think I might put him as a defensive end because you know, he's actually extremely fit and just really athletic still at 51. You know what? Like, if you stood next to any defensive ends, you'd be like, yeah, yeah, he probably outdo them sometimes. So I'd probably put him at a defensive end because it doesn't require too much of Cruz to, think hard about all of the scenarios happening in the linebacker position, and rally up the team to know which
Yeah.
route is going to come. I'm not saying that Terry Crews isn't smart. I'm just saying that he's been out of American football for gone I think if I over 10 years anyway, 20 years.
Okay.
I think.
Right.
So defensive
Yeah.
end.
So that was actually, as a defensive end, that was a really good pick.
Booyakasha.
Based on name factor alone, I don't think I'm gonna win. But
Oh, that's
I'll just
another
move on
point
to
that
my
I was
pick.
going to make. It's that he's famous. He knows all the famous
He'll
people.
draw a crowd.
Yeah, you draw all the famous people, baby. We get that sweet money in,
Yeah.
that free publicity.
Damn. I did so much work on research for my pick that I know is just not gonna win now.
Sorry, man. I might pick yours
But-
because he probably is like an actual player.
No, yeah, he is, but he's not Terry Crews. So my pick, the second pick in this undrafted 11 team is Matthew Slater. So Matthew Slater is he's a wide receiver for the New England Patriots.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm not surprised that you don't know his name.
All right.
Because he doesn't play all that often on the offensive side of the ball.
Okay.
So let me just bring you all the way back to when he was in college in USC. So his first year in college, he was a wide receiver. But in his second year, he switched to defensive back. And this resulted in 26 tackles and solo tackles with 34 combined. So he was more than likely a corner or a safety.
Okay, cool.
So, but it was in his senior year that he really had kind of a breakout season. And this is when they put him on kick returns. So, on 34 returns, he had 986 yards, which is 29 yards per return. And he also ran 3 touchdowns back. So, he has that special team presence in college.
Yeah, so that's good. He's multi-purpose,
Yeah. But can you hazard a guess? So, his first year he played wide receiver. So, can you guess how many passes he caught and for how many yards they were?
Since I haven't heard of him, I'm going to say that he caught 4, and his average, not his average, his total is. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt and say that he got over 10 yards each time. So I'm going to say, let's go with 50 yards total with 4 passes or 4. Yeah, 4.
It's actually not a bad guess. He caught 1 pass, but it was for -6 yards. So it was more than likely a screen pass gone wrong because it was so far behind the line of scrimmage. But whatever. He was drafted in the 2008 draft by the New England Patriots in the 5th round, which is kind of crazy because he didn't really have any production in the position they drafted him to play, which was wide receiver. So he's had a 14-year career to this point, which is crazy. He's been in the league this entire time with the New England Patriots. and he's played 201 snaps on the offensive side of the ball in his career. So 201 in total. This is across all of 14 seasons. This never eclipsed more than 5% of the total snaps on the offense in a single season. So, in a whole season, there's probably about 2,000 snaps on offense. And he's only played 201 offensive snaps in his entire career. So it's never more than 5% in a single season. And despite being listed as a defensive back in college, they took him as, a wide receiver. So, for the New England Patriots, he took 2 snaps in his entire career on defense. So 14 years, despite being a defensive back in college, only played 2 snaps on the defensive side of the ball, both of which were in 2019, the most recent season, which is just generally crazy.
Wait, what? He's still around? Wait,
yeah,
what?
He's played 14 years in the league. He's had 201 offensive snaps, so never more than 5% in the league in a single season. And then 2 snaps for his entire career on defense. And here's where it kind of comes into the whole New England special teams philosophy, because he's been a consistent special team player like his entire career. That's pretty much what he does. He's played over 2,123 snaps on special teams, primarily as a gunner. So what the gunner is just chasing down punts and kicks to make tackles on the returner. And so his highest ever percentage of plays on special teams was 72% of all special team snaps on 2019. The most recent season again, which seems to be most of his, his most flashy season per se, even though it's not very flashy at all.
Okay.
So, with all this in mind, can you guess how many Pro Bowls he's been to?
0.
8. He's been to 8 Pro Bowls as a special teams gunner. And he's had 2 first team All-Pros. And he's 35 years of age now. And Bill Belichick recently signed him to a 2-year extension, which is absolutely insane. So he's been listed as a wide receiver for 12 years. He's been on the field for 201 offensive snaps. Can you just hazard a guess at how many catches he's had and how many yards he's had on those catches?
Right.
So in 201 plays as a wide receiver, how many catches did he get and how many yards does he have?
Do you know, just because I've never heard of him, it's going to be dead low. So I'm going to go with, I'm rethinking it now. I'm going to go with 6.
Okay. And how many yards?
16. And I'm going to say that the reason why I haven't heard of him is because he doesn't get that many yards. So I'm going to say, 5 yards per catch. So, yeah.
So well over 100 yards, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm feeling that. Yeah, okay, yeah. 100 yards plus. Okay. And 16 receptions.
No, not even close. 1 reception for 46 yards. And this was in 2011.
Oh, damn!
So he only caught 1 pass within the last 10 years, and it went for 46 yards and a touchdown, I believe. And he's had 154 combined tackles on special teams, and he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion.
Oh my god, I just forgot he's on the Patriots. So yeah, he's got the rings.
Yeah, he's got 3 rings.
That's so annoying. Oh my god.
Yeah, so that was my pick. Matthew Slater, the absolute special teams legend.
Special teams legend. Okay, so now how are we debating this? Because you actually have a well-founded argument with stats and statistics, albeit they're not the greatest. Yeah. But if he's on special teams, that's a pretty promising place to put him, I guess.
Who gets picked? Terry Crews, a former player, or Matthew Slater, a current player who has been well renowned and graded in his position of choice at primary gunner on special teams.
Wait, who do you want?
I want Matthew Slater, my guy.
You want Matthew Slater?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, is that my guy Terry Crews right here, he's, I dare say it, he's a prospect again on this team.
Yeah. So,
See, here's the thing: is that like I have to think of special teams as well now. I'm just thinking: is there better people to put into special teams, and is there better people to put into the defensive end position?
I don't know. You know what we'll do? We'll just leave it to the audience's discretion. You know, if there is anyone that actually votes, that'll be the determining factor. Because it's 1-1 now. All there needs to be is one person voting for either Terry Crews or Matthew Slater. So we'll just leave it up to the audience's discretion. You know, hopefully we actually get a reply, or we'll have to include the both of them.
I'd be happy with the both of them.
I would too, but that's kind of not the purpose of this whole segment. So yeah,
we may need to look over how we judge them. Probably keep them in the same position at least.
Yeah, so we have a wide receiver special teams gunner and a 51-year-old retired former linebacker / defensive end.
And hey, I think a tight end in Mean Machines. So look, to be fair though, like he's 6'3", 245 pounds of muscle, man. Do you know, like that's pretty insane for a 51-year-old.
Yeah.
And like if you look at him, you're like, oh shit, yeah, I bet he get pretty good times at the combine and all that kind of stuff. You know. So I'm all with Terry Crews. I think that he'd be great, and you know he'd bring us all these other sponsors. Like, is he still with Old Spice? I don't know. We might get to meet Andy Samberg. You know, we might get to meet him, you know, or whatever. So look, I think Terry Crews has a spot on this team, and you know I'm going to fight for it.
I don't know, man. We'll see. But
are we also going to think of like the coordinators and the coaches?
I think we should leave that till the end. Once the actual team itself is
once we have the whole team together.
So after that we can pick, you know, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and you know the head coach as well. Maybe even a general manager as well.
So are we the owners of the club, or of the franchise in this scenario? We're the owners.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll say we're co-owners.
Oh, savage! I'll get a jersey design going up and all.
Right, so that concludes the Undrafted 11 segment, our newest segment on the podcast, and it concludes the podcast in general. That's all we've got to talk about today. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening. Please forgive us if the quality of the podcast is poor this week, because we've had some technical issues in terms of, you know, the general connectivity of the call that we're using. And also, we took a week's break, and I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty rusty. So, tune back in again next week for probably a better all-around podcast. And, of course, as always, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys, and stay tuned for more. Peace.